Definition and importance of global economic history. A. Definition of global economic history. Global economic history is the study of how economies have evolved over time. Across different regions of the world, it examines the development of economic systems, trade networks, financial institutions, industrialization, labor markets, and technological innovations from ancient times to the present. The field integrates economic theories, historical data, and interdisciplinary approaches to understand long-term economic trends, global interconnections, and the forces shaping economic growth and decline. This discipline is a subfield of both economic history and global history, focusing on macroeconomic patterns, international trade, financial networks, and the economic interactions between civilizations, empires, and nation-states. By analyzing historical events such as the Industrial Revolution, the rise and fall of empires, colonialism, globalization, financial crises, and technological innovations, global economic history provides insights into the causes and consequences of economic development. B. Importance of global economic history. Understanding global economic history is crucial for various reasons, as it helps scholars, policymakers, and economists make sense of historical patterns and their implications for modern economies. Below are the key reasons why global economic history is significant. 1. Understanding economic growth and development. One of the core objectives of global economic history is to analyze why some countries or regions have prospered while others have remained underdeveloped. By examining historical factors such as industrialization, technological progress, trade policies, resource distribution, and institutional structures, scholars can understand the conditions that lead to long-term economic growth. For instance, the Industrial Revolution, 18th–19th centuries, drastically changed global economic structures. By shifting from agrarian economies to industrial production, the Great Divergence explains how Western Europe and North America experienced rapid economic growth, while other regions lagged behind. The Asian economic miracle of the late 20th century demonstrates how state policies and global trade integration contributed to rapid industrialization in countries like Japan, South Korea, and China. 2. Impact of trade and globalization. Trade has been a fundamental driver of economic growth and interaction between civilizations. Global economic history examines how trade networks such as the Silk Road, Indian Ocean trade, transatlantic trade, and modern globalization have facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures. Ancient trade networks, the Silk Road connected China, India, the Middle East, and Europe, enabling the exchange of silk, spices, and precious metals. Colonial mercantilism. European colonial powers established vast trade networks, extracting resources from Africa, Asia, and the Americas to fuel industrial growth. Modern globalization. The rise of multinational corporations, free trade agreements, and technological advancements have created an interconnected global economy. By studying these historical trade patterns, we can assess the benefits and challenges of globalization, including issues like income inequality, trade imbalances, and the risks of economic dependency. 3. Role of institutions in economic development. Institutions such as property rights, legal systems, financial institutions, and government policies play a crucial role in shaping economic performance. Global economic history explores how institutional differences across regions have contributed to economic success or stagnation. The role of banking and financial systems. The rise of banking institutions in Renaissance. Italy and the Netherlands facilitated investment and economic expansion. Economic policies. The policies of central banks and governments, such as the gold standard and Bretton Woods system, have shaped international economic stability, political and economic institutions. democratic institutions, and rule of law often correlate with long-term economic stability, while extractive institutions colonial exploitation, slavery, and monopolies have led to economic divergence. By analyzing historical case studies, we can understand how good governance and strong institutions are essential for sustainable economic development. 4. Lessons from economic crises. Economic history provides valuable lessons from past financial crises, helping policymakers prevent or mitigate future economic downturns. Some major crises include the Great Depression, 1929–1939, the worst economic collapse in modern history, leading to high unemployment, trade protectionism, and financial instability. The 1973 oil crisis triggered by OPEC's oil embargo, causing inflation and economic recessions worldwide. The 2008 global financial crisis, caused by excessive risk-taking in financial markets, leading to widespread bank failures and economic contractions. Studying these events helps economists and policymakers understand how monetary policy, fiscal responses, and regulatory frameworks can stabilize financial markets and prevent systemic collapses. 5. Technological innovation and industrialization. Economic history highlights how technological advancements have shaped economies over time. Key innovations include the agricultural revolution, allowed societies to transition from hunter-gatherer lifestyles to settled economies. The Industrial Revolution introduced mechanized production, steam engines, and factory systems, revolutionizing global productivity. The Digital Revolution transformed industries through automation, artificial intelligence, and the Internet. These technological changes have had profound impacts on labor markets, production systems, and global economic structures. 6. Economic consequences of wars and conflicts. Wars and geopolitical conflicts have historically reshaped economic landscapes by redistributing resources, altering trade routes, and influencing national economies. World War I and II led to economic devastation in Europe, shifts in global power, and the rise of the U.S. and USSR as superpowers. Cold War economic policies created ideological economic systems, capitalism versus communism, impacting global trade and development. Post-colonial economic transformations. Former colonies had to reconstruct their economies after gaining independence, often facing challenges due to resource dependency and weak institutions. Understanding these economic effects helps in post-war reconstruction, economic planning, and conflict resolution strategies. 7. The role of labor and migration in economic change. Labor markets and migration have been central to economic transformations throughout history. Key examples include the transatlantic slave trade provided forced labor for colonial plantations, shaping global wealth distribution. Industrial-era migrations. Millions of Europeans moved to the Americas for economic opportunities, contributing to industrialization. Modern global workforce trends. Outsourcing, automation, and digital labor markets are reshaping employment dynamics. By examining these trends, we can address labor market inequalities, worker rights, and the economic impact of migration policies. 8. Addressing income inequality and economic disparities. Global economic history helps us understand the historical roots of income inequality and how different economic policies have widened or reduced disparities. Feudalism versus capitalism. The transition from feudal economies to capitalist markets changed wealth distribution patterns. The rise of the welfare state government interventions in the 20th century helped reduce economic inequality through social programs and labor protections. Global wealth gaps. The divide between developed and developing countries has historical roots in colonialism, trade policies, and technological access. By analyzing past efforts to combat inequality, Policymakers can design effective social and economic policies to promote inclusive growth. Conclusion. Global economic history provides a long-term perspective on economic development, trade, technological progress, financial systems, and social changes. It helps us understand the causes of prosperity and decline, the role of institutions, the impact of globalization, and the lessons from economic crises. By studying past economic transformations, we can make informed decisions for the present and future, ensuring sustainable growth and equitable economic policies. In an increasingly interconnected world, would you like me to expand on any particular topic, such as the role of specific trade networks or economic policies?